I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I feel like we're all being programmed to be anxious. And I know humans have always had anxieties and fears and been in rushes, whatever, but it just seems like it's getting worse. I don't know if anybody has ever driven in the morning and not been going to work, not been in any sort of obligation or anything, just driving, chilling, on a weekday. But it's a madhouse, honestly. Like, you'll be getting passed, you'll be getting honked at, people riding your tail, flashing their brights at you just because you're not in a rush, but everyone around you is. And something about being surrounded by that anxiety and being disconnected from it really shows you how widespread it is, because when you're in it you're not thinking anything of it, you just want this asshole to get out of your way because you got to get to work or you got to get wherever you're going. But it seems like people do that all the time now, not just when they're running late. It just seems like everyone's in a rush to do everything and doesn't want to do it. And I mean, I'm sure devices are to blame 100% and our shortened attention spans, but it just seems like everything around us is just, we're slowly becoming surrounded by an environment that creates anxiety within us. Like 90% of people are addicted or dependent on caffeine, and I can't lie, I had a Celsius this morning. So I'm not speaking like I'm better than somebody because I'm in it too. But I know it's not good for us, and I know the way it makes me feel. Like, I feel like good when I have it because it's caffeine. But I notice a heightened anxiety. I notice my emotions come quicker and stronger if I've had too much, or even some days when I've just had a little. And I've never been one to have a weak tolerance to caffeine. It doesn't make me jittery. It doesn't make me anything like that. I've had my days where I've had 400 milligrams. So I know if someone like me who isn't super dependent on it and also isn't super intolerant towards it, that I wonder what it does to other people who have lower tolerances than me, or lower um or higher intake than I do. And I feel like that's to blame partially. I know that short form content is just destroying our brains too, because I'm old enough to remember a world where phones didn't exist, old enough to remember a world where phones existed but weren't common, and a world where everyone had a phone but they weren't addicted to it. And it's really a really recent thing that short form contents took over, like 2020, 2021, somewhere in there, maybe 2019. But it's a really recent thing, and we don't know what it's doing to our brains, but I think we all see it, especially those of us, my age or older. But it just seems like we're never taking a moment for ourselves anymore, that we're just being surrounded and forced to be anxious at all times. Like, people never just sit and relax. You never go in public and see someone sitting there even by themselves and they're not on a phone or a laptop. You don't even see people reading books in public anymore. You just see everyone's on their phone. No one's just existing. No one's enjoying the one life we get. Everyone's just stuck in constant consumption. It's like being bored is now a bad thing, even though that's your brain's like rest state. That's when your brain does non-sleep rest, is when you're bored. And honestly, I can't even remember the last time I was bored, which is horrible because that's a normal human thing. I remember being a child and being bored and laying in the floor and staring at the ceiling. And yeah, it wasn't very fun, of course, but looking back on it, it's like that's a healthy thing. And there's probably children now that have never felt bored in their entire lives and may never feel bored. And what does that do to our brains? It just seems like we're all just being programmed to be completely anxious at all times. I mean, besides that and the short form content, never resting, caffeine, all that, like everyone else, or 90% of people also, besides a caffeine and phone addiction, probably have another addiction that they struggle with. Or they don't even struggle with it, they just think it's normal, or they don't realize they have it. But I don't know. It just seems to me like, I mean, I've said it 100 times. I'm like a broken record, so I'm not going to say it again. But, and then we're just surrounded in an environment of just where we're all on the internet. We're kind of losing our like inner person. We're not seeing each other as people anymore. We're seeing each other as just things and obligations. And it just seems like everyone's not only just less friendly in general, but also just quicker to hostility, quicker to anger, not treating each other like we're all just people. And I know that's not coming from a state of we're being programmed to hate each other per se, but I think it's just the constant state of anxiety because that's what it does to a person, especially when we're not resting or anything like that. And I hear, adults, older adults around me. I'm still a child. I'm only 20, so I'm still a child. But I hear adults, 30, 40, 50, even 60 talk about the world before and just how different it is. So I know I'm not the only one who's noticed this in my short existence. There's people who have lived 3 times as long as me speaking of this, and I can't even imagine the difference they've seen. And it just seems like everyone's not just hooked on that, hooked on something, and then everyone's insecure, everyone's self-conscious, everyone's trying to portray an image that they're not. And I feel like that's just adding to the anxiety more. It adds to your anxiety because you're being someone you're not, and you know deep down you're not, and you don't want to be found out. But you're also comparing yourself to others who are faking their image as well, but you don't realize they're faking their image. So then you're worsening your own anxiety and building a self-hatred towards yourself because of what you're consuming on social media or even in real life, because people are portraying a fake image in real life now. It used to just be only on social media. Now it's both. Now you can't even escape it by getting off the phone. You got people renting cars and flexing in public, talking badly towards people with a camera, shoving a camera in their face, wearing the meta glasses. Like it's bad. We're just becoming I don't know. I'm not gonna say an awful society because there's not that much evil in the world yet. But I could see it coming that way if we continue down the path that we're on, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get any better. You gotta think. I don't think there's much else to say on the topic, Just seems like we're all just being put down and made into the weakest version of ourselves by the environment we choose to put ourselves in. And I just think that we would all benefit if we just locked our phones up or uninstalled social media for a little bit. It doesn't have to be forever, just enough to reconnect with the world and remember what we're actually surrounded by, and remember that these are other people living real lives. And but I think that's about all I got to say. If you liked what I had to say, make sure to press that subscribe button so you can listen to what I have to say more. But that's my yacht for today.